Pricing the home, your homes are difficult to price because you sell sort of unique products in the main. So you're at the harder end of the scale. How much do you get involved with that discussion versus not get involved with a deep discussion about what it might sell for? Because everyone wants to know, Mike, what do you reckon? I want 12 mil. You're the expert. What are you thinking? And probably in your mind, you're thinking the comparables are 10 to 10.5, maybe 10 to 11, say. So that would be a typical scenario.
Yeah. So everyone they all want to know what their home's worth. And I think the best part is to tell them that I always get it wrong, so I actually don't buy into price. I could give, and then I'll talk about a number of case studies. Like I sold one, I thought it was only going to make 18 million, but I sold it for 21. So for me to sit there and get into a price discussion, my opinion actually doesn't matter. And I'm probably too close to it than most people. And my role is to actually market these properties effectively to ensure that we get the most amount of competition to get you the best price. And once we go through that process, we're going to understand where it sits. But I actually don't buy into it. And I'll give them 6, 7, 8 case studies where I've been completely wrong. Some I've overpriced in my mind. Some have I've been the other side of it.
So you tiptoe, like you
always
tiptoe around the price. I like that. I always get it wrong, so I won't participate in that game.
But Tom, the thing I got out of that, I thought that's one of the best pieces of dialogue I've ever heard. It's the follow-up. Let me tell you about a home I sold recently where I thought it was about 18, I got 21. So what he's saying is, when I get it wrong, I actually often overperform, so let's not get worried about it.
Yes.
I love that.
And I'm not going to sit here and tell you my conservative approach or where I think it sits to win your business. I'm just going to put a robust strategy in place on how to make sure that we get the best price for you. And so we just talked through that. Like that one the other day we sold for 13. I didn't think it'd break 11. And then I sold one recently at Southport. And most of the local market thought it was 10 and a half, and we sold it for 12 and a quarter to him. So, and it just takes competitive tension on it. And in that instance, we had 2 people that wanted it at the same time, and they drove it up. In the one that we sold for 13, I was marketing it. We were really struggling to get anyone over 12, and then had 3 people at once, and we drove it to 13 and sold it above the list price.
So for people in the room that are less experienced, give us a few basic but Kollosche negotiation tips when you're dealing, especially with buyers. You've got a buyer and they're at X, and you think it's worth X and a bit more, and the vendor wants X and a bit more and a bit more. What are some of the ways you can help maximise? I know competitive tension, if you've got it available, is a brilliant way. It's not always available. Sometimes it's a one-on-one discussion, and how do you lift someone's price expectation that wants to buy a place?
Buyers want confidence, and confidence comes from understanding your marketplace. Being able to sit there and talk to them confidently about every single transaction that happens in your marketplace, and actually talk through the comparables and all the reasons why. A lot of people forget, like we aren't order takers, and I would say 95% of real estate agents are order takers. They turn up, they take the order, they deliver it to the seller, and they don't have to negotiate on behalf of the seller with the buyer because they know the seller's locked in on an exclusive. So they go and hit the seller over the head rather than actually going back and working with the buyer to educate them as to why they should be paying more, and then creating a set of conditions where there is competitive tension. Everyone has a logical price on a property, and it's the emotional one that comes out on auction day. And we want them to engage with their logical price. And if we start to try and get their emotional price out of them before auction day, they're going to walk away because you haven't left any value on the table. And it's having a conversation with them sometimes. So look, sometimes the vendor's not ready to accept your offer at this point in time, but they will be by auction day. And you just got to keep positioning them.
That's the dialogue too.
You've got to work with them, as Jason Adcock said. You've got to talk to all the buyers. You've got to talk to them about bidding strategies, build a relationship with them. Same with the sellers though, and in this changing market, that's where a lot of people are going to miss out.
There's a group of agents, and it's a pretty big cohort, I think, that when the market changes, they still believe their job is to rescue the vendor. And they become, as Michael said, attached to the price. And I often hear it, I mentioned it yesterday or the day before, I get some agents just when I do auctions where they'll say to me, Tommy, they're really nice people. They're really good people. We've got to do the best for them. And and I'll say like, so the one at 3 o'clock, they're not nice, we'll do a shitter job for them, right? And I think the issue is, and sometimes I'll say, man, it's worth it. That they might not get the price now, but eventually they will get it. It's just a funny period. And then you'll say, well, how do you know that they'll get the price in 3 months' time if things have corrected by 10%? They might be in a worse spot. I think good agents interpret the market and tell people, as John used last year, the damn truth. They don't sit there to be a rescuer, right? And what they're doing is they're using data for the last 2 weeks, not the last 2 months.